Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name's Jimmy Brooks. Thanks for stopping in once again to the channel. If you haven't seen all my other videos, go check those out. My first ride on this, my first ride on the XT250, those are very in-depth, or at least the Yamaha one is. The CRF one is me just kind of being excited about this bike for the first day. But this will actually be a hopefully informational video about which one you should get. So it depends. If you've never ridden a motorcycle before, I have a very stern answer for that. And if you've ridden a lot of bikes, that's potentially a different answer. So let's ride it around and talk about the differences, shall we? Da, 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 da. Hey, 400 miles on the dot. Almost broken in. Whew. So, first things first, the difference between the engines. This one has a boatload more torque, and it is the star and the shining characteristic of this bike. It's what separates it from the 250 class, even though it's only a little bit bigger at 286. It just makes it so fun and torquey. Like, you don't feel like you're missing out on anything. Like, you don't need a 450L or anything. It could fly! Fly off the little lips. It can boogie, we can go right into that. Look at that, you don't bottom out the shocks. It performs when you need it to. Go down this way. Ooh, man. This bike boogies. The XT250 will also boogie, just not as quick as this bike. Gotta love the torque on the 300. But whew, now that we did a little lap there, we can talk about why that's not everything. Whoop. Actually, let's get out of the view of the public, shall we? There's been some enforcers of the law around here lately, and I don't want none of that. Here we go. Let's just chill right about here. Let's go right here. Yes. Da 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 da. Whoa. Kickstand didn't go down. What a dingus. All right. Hey, it's places like this where that, like, the way this bike goes on its kickstand is like a Harley Davidson, where it like leans this much over. It feels like it's gonna fall down. I think it's dumb on pavement, but on the dirt like this, it's kind of cool that, you know, I see why they do it. It makes it easier to stand it up in the dirt with this big ol' you know, platform right there. So anyway, back to the topic. Whew. Is this a good, is it better than the XT250? I know it's a weird comparison because the XT250 is like, you know, super duper beginner bike, it's supposed to be, but, you know, not really. It's a pretty capable bike. I'd say the DR200, the TW200, and the KLX230 are, you know, a step down from the XT250. The 250, it has enough torque in second gear to really power up any trail you want, any hill you want. I went to Arcatia Wells with the XT250, and I made it up some pretty gnarly hills with that thing in second gear. You know, do I wish I could have hit them faster and gone in third? Of course, but you know, for what it was fantastic. I bought the bike for $3,000. You know, you could probably find a used one for $4,000 or so. They've gone up in price. Everything's gone up in price, right? So anyway, that's what makes these enticing. Because like, oh, I could just get a new bike for that. You know, $5,200. But man, that's all the dealers are asking markup for this. They wouldn't budge on mine. I had to pay a little bit of markup on this too. And you know, tax and license, this gets way closer to $7,000, if not more, than, you know, a used bike for $3,000 or $4,000. So that is, you know, if we're working with that kind of price, I'm just gonna say this: if you've never ridden a motorcycle, and you know, I met a guy the other day, a few weeks ago. He had a brand new 2020 or 2021, one of those, XT250. It was a gray one. And he said he had never ridden a motorcycle before. This was like his first bike, and he took the MSF course and he started learning on it. And that is perfect. I told him, dude, there is no better bike in the universe you could have got. That it's so friendly. The XT250 is so easy to ride. The seat height is so friendly, even all the way to people. I'd say 5'4", 5'3" is the cutoff. But man, that's a long for a dirt bike-ish thing. That's a lot of height to work with. So, you know, the seat height, I miss the seat height of that. I don't need it. I need to stop being a baby about that. I'm 5'11". I certainly don't need a 32-inch seat height. This is 34. I'm used to it, but I will admit the one time I've dropped this bike, as you can see by my poor little clutch lever here, it's supposed to be as straight as that one. The only time I've dropped it was because of the seat height. I'm so used to being able to just plant my foot anywhere and do the little spin out. And I couldn't reach. I went like, whoops. Yeah, there was no platform because I tried to do it like on a slant, like right there. So anyway, yeah, I love low seat height bikes. I love you know, how low cruisers are and stuff. But anywho, 32 inches is great for a beginner. The gearbox on both of them are great. Obviously, it's way better on this. It's a new bike, and it has a slipper clutch that makes it easy for downshifts. If you're a tall guy, you can totally start on this. There's nothing wrong with starting on this. It's just the on and off throttle is a little twitchy compared to the carbureted, the older carbureted XT250s, which are super smooth. It's like you can't really mess up the application of the engine in that. And if you've never operated a manual transmission of any kind, the XT250 is going to be a little friendlier to you. And even though they're both kind of light, the XT250 is 290 pounds and this is 311, I believe. It's not the weight that you feel, but it's the size of the bike. And of course, the little taller height, the seat height, makes it seem a lot heavier. You get used to it, and like if this is your second bike, you'll like this way better. Try to find one of these or a KLX 300. But for a person who's never ridden a motorcycle, go XT250. You're not going to be disappointed. Go watch my review on that thing. It's wonderful. That's a bike that is like super overlooked. I mean, everyone says DRZ 400, you never go wrong with those. They're unkillable and they just work and they're kind of fast. And yeah, they also have a 36-inch seat height, and that's just a no-go for like a lot of the population. So I mean, I'm tippy-toe on those things. So I don't know about shorter people. So WR250R is a better bike than pretty much all of these if you want to just go suspension. Now you could do some light enduro on the WR250R, but it's also 36-inch seat height. Even the KLX 300, 35-inch seat height. The reason I'm not to get too far away from the topic, but the reason I am comparing these two is, honestly, I am kind of talking about seat height because it's actually a reason why a lot of people go with the CRF, like the 250L back in the day. Is that's the only thing that they thought would fit. They're like, oh, I'm short, I have to get this because it's a 34-inch seat height. I guess they didn't really know that the DR200 and the XT250 are both shorter than the CRFs have ever been. But a lot of people don't know that. They think like, Honda, this is going to be the shortest one. So yeah, it is not the shortest one. If you're a shorter person, go with the XT. And if you are a tall beginner, say you've driven some, I don't know, manual cars, maybe you rode dirt bikes when you were a kid, this is fine. This is totally fine. But yeah, the XT is great. I like that little thing. Let's do a couple laps on this though before we go. I will say, this bike comes with better tires out of the box. They grip pretty good with the lower pressures. And they can both jump. Both bikes can get air. Ooh, but this one boogies. Whew, let's do a lap in the opposite direction, and then we'll call that a day. I almost did my 180. Not quite. Still working on it. Whew. Yeah, this bike is definitely more intense, because it was a lot easier to talk and review the XT250 than it is this bike. This thing, you're moving. Woo! You're moving in the dirt. Yeah, buddy. Look at that. These shocks never bottom out. That is probably one of the defining features on performance on this versus the XT250. You know, something I didn't touch on is what you're going to have to use the bike for. I forget that, like, you know, people don't buy dual sports just to go in the dirt only. That, you know, a lot of people, they commute on them. And for commuting, I mean, hands down, the Honda's so much better. It's more comfortable, it's bigger, the rider triangle is the rider triangle is so much, you know, roomier. Oh, that's the that's the ice cream chime I hear. I guess that would make sense. But yeah, like, you could mosey around this. You could mosey this bike around in the city a lot better than an XT250. And if your inseam allows for it, this is going to be the better commuter bike. But the reason I don't talk about dual sports in the city and stuff like that is if you have like halfway decent roads and it's not all weather beaten and it doesn't rain a lot, like if you're in a good climate and you're going to commute, like say, like I'm in Southern California, and I would never want to commute on one of these bikes when I could just commute on a naked bike. Like my XSR 700, it's so, like, you don't have to think about merging, like, oh, how am I going to get up to speed quick enough to make it in between these people? Like, it's just like, boom, you're there. It's, you know, a quick motorcycle is as usable as, like, a Tesla. Like, if you've ever driven a Tesla and you feel that torque, you're like, oh, I can, you know, you can just make gaps in traffic. You can make it work because you're just faster than everything. And on this bike, you're not faster than everything. On, you know, 650 and up, naked bike or sport bike, yeah, you're pretty much faster than most things on the road. And that is awesome when commuting, as long as you have a responsible right hand. Giggity. It's going to be better for commuting. So that's why I don't talk about it that much. But yes, if you are keen on owning one motorcycle, which I know that's pretty typical, honestly, and you want to, yeah, have one motorcycle, do it all, this is going to be the one. It is a CRF 300L. So I think that's going to be about it. I don't think there's any other points I need to make, so we'll end the video there, and thanks you all for watching.